Kempire is brought to you by
The Kempire After Dark, the villain era, is finally here. Tickets have now gone on sale for Atlanta, Philadelphia, and New York City. Stay tuned for more announcements. But if you've been looking for an opportunity to meet me in person or hear me spill tea in person, this is your opportunity. We're coming back to City Winery in Philadelphia on July 10th, then Atlanta on August 5th, and then back here in New York City on September 12th. More information on tickets will be available in the description. And don't forget, the New York City show has an exclusive option for live stream. So get your tickets today.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, all the things. Let me know if you've liked the video already. Shout out to our live chat. Let me open my notes. This is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 11. If you guys had to rate this week's episode, how would you rate it from 1 to 10? If you're watching us on TikTok, be sure to let us know how you would rate this week's episode. If you follow me on Twitter, then you kind of already had a feeling of what I felt of watching this week's episode. I was kind of bored. I was watching and by the time I got towards I was at Drew's, when Drew and her mom were speaking in person, I was like, I'm kind of bored. And Drew, I like the new music. I feel like they're all coming for you on just because they have nothing else going on. But at the same time, I really don't care or invested in the drama between Drew and Ralph. Anyone else? I don't care. If we didn't get a continuation of what's going on with their divorce, I really would not care. But that's just me. Okay. Danny says it's just not picking up the pace. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. This episode was, if I had to rate this week's episode, I'd probably give it between a 4 and a 6. For me. How about you guys? All right. I got my water. Let me just get into this episode because I can't promise you that this will be a long live. Because the most of the things that I want to talk about are the Shamia and the Porsha of it all. You know, we did a video over the weekend in regards to it as well. Shout out to everyone that's watching from around the world. We see you guys. Be sure to let us know your thoughts as well. Matter of fact, should I sit down? Let me sit down. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to get this situated. Oh. Let me sit on down. And yes, I will be recapping you guys in regards to the Diddy trial, day 6. So stay tuned for that. What's going on, everyone? What's going on? All right, let me turn this fan down because I can barely hear myself. All right, where do we want to go? Oh, yeah. Before we get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta, speaking of Atlanta, the Kempire After Dark live show is coming to Atlanta on August 5th. Before that, we'll be coming to Philadelphia on July 10th. Then in September, we're bringing the show back here in New York City. So all of that information is available in the live chat, but also in the description. For those that are on TikTok, check out our link tree in my bio. All right. Where do I want to begin with this? Oh, Lord. All right. So Angela and Charles, they go for a quick bite to eat. And, I've sort of said, you know what? I kind of understand Charles and Angela's relationship. What disturbed me in this particular episode, in this scene, was more so when the producer asked Charles, do you love Angela? And even though they had a little quick banter back and forth, he couldn't just say, yes, I love Angela. I was a little disturbed by that. And I've sort of really given excuses for the relationship between Charles and Angela. But then I have to say, I was watching it and I was just like, At some particular point, look, us Tauruses, we don't need you like smothering us with the love and support. And we don't like yes people. But at some particular point, and maybe it's behind the scenes, we need your support. We need something. I'm not getting the something from Charles. I saw on Watch What Happens Live, Andy said that Charles filmed a lot, which he was surprised about because, a lot of times the husbands don't film a lot. Look at Gerald. Gerald does not film a lot at all, to the point where I'm like, is he here? Anyway, so I was a little disturbed by his reaction to that. I was just like, come on, Charles. Like, I get it. You guys sort of had this little bickering back and forth love language. But at some particular point, and I get it, we're seeing a chapter in their relationship. We're not seeing chapter and verse when it comes to their relationship. Then part of me was sort of like, and I've said this before, I was like, did Angela come on here to get her own because maybe there's a divorce looming? Maybe. Or maybe is Charles wanting to film for his own financial gain, meaning he can promote his stuff. Because anytime Angela can bring it up, she brings up whatever he's working on, what he's doing. Is this her way of trying to uplift him? I feel like she's uplifting him way too much, and he's not uplifting her enough. It's one thing to have bickering and back and forth. And as a Taurus, when it comes with my friends, past, partners and things like that, there's something about Tauruses that people like to just sort of like come at us, maybe because they know that we can take it. So I kind of take it as that, but I'm just like, okay, that's cute, but are we ever going to see a loving moment? And maybe Charles Oakley's love language is making food for people, and that's how he shows his love to Angela. I don't know, but she doesn't seem to have a problem with it, but she also doesn't seem to have a problem with an ex having a baby on her. Remember, she said to Wendy Williams, it's just a baby. Just a baby? So Angela's certain criteria for respect, you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. Miss Buck says Charles is not likable, at all likable. Because even when we talk about the Todd father, there were some redeeming qualities about the Todd father from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We were like, well, you know what? There's some redeeming qualities to the Todd father. I'm trying my best. But this week did not help. This week did not help at all. Yeah, Marsando says Taurus can take it, that part. I know. And the rolling eyes. Like, we can take it, but there does come a point with us Tauruses, we need people to love on us. Like, I get a lot of stuff. My friends, they love to, like, do that little quick, lots of digs at me because they know I can take it. And I know I don't take them seriously because I know I'm perfection. This is true, and this is a perfect. Ken says that Tauruses always take more BS than they should. Shamea, but let me tell you something. I wouldn't be taking all the mess that Shamea's taken in a friendship. But some might say I have. Hello. Okay, Edward says, I feel you some way, somehow. I apparently got back into watching RHOA after Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, these reality shows lately. Yeah, we need a little refresh. We need a little refresh when it comes to reality television. Anyone else watching Love Hotel? I watched the first 2 episodes. I even tried to watch it last night. But here's the problem for Love Hotel, and this is just a quick sidebar. Here's the problem. I feel like those women aren't really there for love. Maybe Shannon. I feel like those women are just there because they want the camera. They want the camera time. They want another check. They're not. Giselle does not want to be with any of those people. So when I feel like it's just for a check and you're just there to be a caricature of yourself, it takes away from the reality of it all. I don't care. Especially because we know that none of them ended up with any of those guys, at least to our knowledge. At least not the RHOP ladies. But anyway, moving on. So that's all I have to say in regards to the Angela and Charles scene. Because when the producer gives him that moment to say, of course I love Angela. I would not be with her if I didn't love Angela. He's just like, next question. Next question. Yeah, Angela's mother did die. We do get a scene with Angela's mother later on in the episode. Her mother did die. She talked about it on social. I do have the part here where she talks about it. So we'll get back to that when we get to Angela and her mother's scene. But she talks about her mother with Charles, and he talks about how he's had a similar family situation, and he's just like, I just move on. I don't sweat it. And Charles says that Angela needs to learn how to draw a line because Angela and her sister, who we will not see on the show, clearly because they blur her out and they don't mention her name, that she needs to draw a line in the sand with them because Angela has been avoiding her sister ever since Amari, her daughter, said that they were nasty to her. And mind you, Angela's mother and sister are living in a house that she bought. What we find out later in the episode is the fact that Angela's mother and I guess sister ended up getting another place. And Angela felt a way about that. We'll get back to that. So I just didn't, what stood out to me in this Angela and Charles scene, I was just like, oh, Angela, this is not good. Like I was trying to make excuses for this relationship because there are plenty of y'all in relationships very similar to Angela's, but at least we know that there's love there. And I know we're watching a reality show and we're only seeing a glimmer of that, but I feel like didn't love that. All right. So Shamia and Cynthia meet up. And of course, this is coming off of what happened last week in regards to the Pamper by Porsha party where Shamia and Porsha had that situation. Okay. So they talk more about it in this scene with Cynthia. And I have to say, Cynthia definitely is coming across like the mother, the advice. She's giving good advice to me. In my perspective, I'm liking the energy that Cynthia is bringing this season. And she's bringing a lot of maturity, but at the same time, I just feel like she doesn't necessarily fit in with all of these women. But I appreciate what she's doing. She definitely has an enhanced role when it comes to this show in this season. All right. So Shamia says that she would have never given these ladies the opportunity to question her friendship the way that Porsha did. Okay. Cynthia talks about her friendship with Nene, and a lot of people are pointing out, wow, they're mentioning Nene, they're showing Nene. There's a lot of stuff going on here. So is this their way of segueing Nene back onto the show? We won't know until next season and what they decide to do with season 17. It's too early to even discuss that. Okay. Did you guys miss Britt? Britt had that little scene, but we didn't see her because Britt was going on a trip with her husband, I put in quotes, going on a trip with him for her friend's wedding. So did you guys miss Britt at all? No? Okay. All right. So Shamia dropped some tea here in regards to Porsha has told her that her mother has said things to her about how she doesn't know how Porsha is to accept Shamia because of the history between Miss Diane and Mama Morton. She says, be careful with her, but because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. This is the funny part, because as you know, we did a separate video over the weekend where Porsha went on social media and then she deleted it, slamming Shamia, say, don't talk about my mama, basically. And based off of the edit, I'm sort of like, what exactly did Shamia say that was so bad for you to go on social media and talk about Shamia like that? And what happened between Shamia's mother and Porsha's mother? Because they used to be best friends, at least. And it seems like as if the friendship dynamics are very similar to what we're seeing between Shamia and Porsha. It makes me wonder what happened. Shamia was really good, though, about not talking about it. The producer asked, what happened? And she's like, I'm not going to go there. Now it makes me want to know even more. What happened between Shamia and Miss Diane? Shamia's mother and Miss Diane. I want to know. Amara says probably a man. I hope not. I hope not. It's not over some man. But I'm more interested in that because I feel like that would probably give us a better understanding of Shamia and Porsha's relationship. And it's interesting to me that they were able to remain friends even after Porsha's mom and Shamia's mom ended up stopped being friends. And I wonder when that happened. When did that happen? Patricia says probably over a man. Really? But again, I don't even care about the Shamia and the Porsha of it all. What happened between Miss Diane and Mama Morton? Funky says, I bet y'all really think y'all would see. That's the thing. What I appreciate about our audience, the ladies, you would have a better idea when it comes to female relationships. Because I'm just a man, a gay man, but still, I'm just a man over here. So I understand your perspectives better because you all have had like these friend-girlfriend dynamics. Do you really think that it was about a man? K-Baby says, I think it's money. Now we need to know, and I wonder if we will ever know, because they're technically not on the show. And I'm sure both Porsha and Shamea are like, that's not our story to tell. And again, I'm sure if they brought it up, it would lead to an argument between Shamea and Porsha. Ken says, absolutely 100% a man. That was not my first thought. Stefan says, definitely a man. Stacy says, I told you there was a lot more to this. It was probably over a man. And probably a man that they're not even with anymore. Or are they? Or, because you see what's happening with Evelyn and Jennifer, is it over a man that maybe one of them were dating and the other friend didn't like? That happened to me with a friend. So maybe I do understand this relationship. And it wasn't necessarily us fighting over a man. It's my friend got a new man and started acting different. And I was just like, what is going on? So maybe it was over a man and not the way that I originally thought. Maybe it was a new man that interfered with their relationship. Nikki says a man or money. Damn. Petty Boop says money or man. Really? Wow. Look, wow. All right. But Shamea refuses to talk about it. So again, I don't understand why Porsha had the reaction that she had on social media. Could it be that cancer sensitivity? But even if she was being sensitive, I didn't understand the things that she was saying in that Instagram post. It didn't make sense. Valulu says, Shamea's mom is not married. We saw Papa Martin on episode 1, but we don't know when this friendship ended. And again, maybe it's because she doesn't like Papa Morton. Maybe Miss Diane didn't like Papa Morton for whatever reason. Damn, now we need to know. Ooh, Daily Celebrity T News says they both have daycares. I believe it was over business. See, that makes some sense. I could see that happening. But still, for you guys to be such close friends? Yeah, Jessica says the same thing. Diane has daycares and Shamea's mom has daycares. Probably took her clients when Diane shut her daycare down. But wait, if she shut her daycare down, why would it be a big deal? I am more interested in what happened between Mama Morton and Miss Diane. I want to know. And I know I jokingly said I'm already team Mama Morton, but no, I honestly would want to hear both sides and decide from there. Right? Because a lot of us have said that Shamea ain't so innocent either. So maybe Mama Morton, even though she looks innocent, may not be so innocent either. Because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Anyway. All right. So Shamia and Cynthia have this meetup. Shamia gets really emotional talking about her friendship, and she doesn't understand why Porsha would allow these women to sort of be like the judge and jury of their relationship, because that's not how she would have handled the situation. All right. And as I said before, Cynthia then opens up about how her friendship dynamics have been affected in this group. Okay. Exactly. Nikki says, all right, Team Kempire investigators, get on it, please. So, if you saw the recent recap that we did on Cynthia's interview with Nene Leakes, then they talked a little bit about their friendship dynamics and how actually they were really close. The show brought them together, but they ended up becoming really close, and how the show affected their relationship. And they only really got to be in a better place recently. Yeah, I agree, Cindy. Cindy says, it sounds like both friendships ended years ago. Yeah, but why? What happened? Caramel says, whatever it was egregious, according to Porsha. She's like, you know what your mom did to me? That's what she said. That's what Porsha said in the Instagram post. You know what your mom did was highly egregious. Danielle on TikTok says daycare businesses are a lucrative business. I mean, from what I hear, I wouldn't want to be involved in that. That's people's kids. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. But I can see it being a highly profitable business. SK says, not the daycare turf wars. Now I want to know, and I wonder if they will talk about it during the reunion or give us an idea of what it was, what happened between Miss Diane and Mama Morton. And I'm ready to hear, and I'm sure, I feel like the streets are going to talk. Unless, because it's such a personal thing, and unless the streets don't know about it, then I could possibly see us not finding out because it really was tight-lipped. We haven't found out all these years. It's been tight-lipped situation between, like the situation with my former friend. Y'all could never find that out unless that former friend said it or if I said it. Just saying. So maybe that's what it is. Danielle says, if it's anything to embarrass Diane, Porsha isn't going to talk about it. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. So Shamia talks about that. That's where we get the first inkling of what happened between Mama Morton and Miss Diane. And she says that her mom considered Miss Diane, Auntie Diane is what Shamia referred to it as. She says was like considered Miss Diane her best friend, but she refuses to give the details on what happened there. Sidebar. So we get this little bit of scene where we find out where Britt's going and why we won't see her in this week's episode. And no one missed you, Britt. Sorry. Shamia's sisters are meeting with her in the studio and they're trying to, pick out her single. And they talk about the friendship between Porsha and Shamea. And one of the sisters says that friendship has been going sideways for a long time. So, I mean, we all can say that, but can you imagine the sisters that know the friendship chapter and verse? So the sister says in that scene, that friendship has been going sideways for a long time. All right, let me move on because I really don't want to delve into things that weren't interesting. So we have Porsha, Angela, and Cynthia going bowling. I have to say, Angela looked real good in this episode. The different scenes that she had, I was like, all right, Angela's looking good. Body is snatched. All right. Porsha comes in. Of course, Porsha has to do a little twerk. And Cynthia's just like, between this one's booty and this one's booty, what is going on? So they're bowling. Cynthia's actually a good bowler. Angela is not a good bowler. She wants to put the kitty guards up. And Porsha's just like, we are grown. We do not need the kitty guards. Until Porsha goes and she bowls, and Porsha can't bowl either. Okay? At all. No one can bowl except Cynthia. Because even when Angela finally gets some of those pins down, she's like, I lied. I know how to bowl. No, the way you threw that ball, I was like, she does not know how to bowl. I haven't been bowling in a long time. I have only gone bowling a couple times in my life, though. But I have to say, the times that I've gone there, it's actually enjoyable. Who likes to bowl? I don't want to join a league, though. Then y'all start making it work. I don't want to join a league. I just want to bowl and have a good time. But then I don't want to hurt my wrist. I feel like those balls are heavy. You got to work the wrist. You got to do some wrist exercises. Anyway, this wrist is out of commission, so I can't even use this one. Okay. Everyone's still speculating on what happened between Mama Morton and Miss Diane. I don't know, y'all. Anyway, so this is where Porsha decides to open up about the things that are going on with her. And she talked about PJ asking for Papa, which is Simon. We did a video over the weekend giving you an update on Simon. He's still in ICE, but they will escort him for the divorce hearing that's coming up. So unless he is deported. I guess because they're detaining so many people, this is why people have not been deported yet, or Simon is fighting to stay in the country. Simon, let it go. Let it go. They should have deported you a long time ago. If we're being honest, and I do not say that lightly. He's been accused of all kinds of fraud, not even just within immigration, bank fraud, credit card fraud. Like, you should have been deported a long time ago, Eeyore. You are one person I'm not going to fight for them to keep in the country at all. Just saying. All right, moving on. So Porsha opens up about that. She says that PJ's asking a lot of questions. And at first she just thought it was the divorce stuff. And then she was like, oh, she's working more. So this is why PJ's been a little bit more clingy to her because she's not at home as much because she's working more. Okay. And she mentions that she asked about Papa Simon again. And she's like, he's working. He's like, no, he's been gone too long. He's been gone too long. So she decides to text Simon, and she says Simon does not respond to her. He leaves her on red. She also reveals that, of course, we've seen it all on social media. They don't highlight it, though, at all. They don't even show it. I thought that this season that they would show all the tweets and posts that Simon had been posting during this time. They don't show it. And maybe because of the legality of it all, because he's threatening to sue, a cease and desist, and da-da-da-da. So that might be part of the reason. And Porsha says, he's going crazy on social media, slamming me and blah, blah, blah. And he didn't even respond to my text. I don't know what to say. Like, I want to feel sorry for Porsha in regards to this because any other person that's going through a divorce, I would be like, yeah, like I understand. But I think because we knew everything that we knew and take the Fallon of it all. Sidebar. Congratulations, Fallon. Fallon gave birth to another child. A Taurus. She's a Taurus and then she gave birth to a Taurus. Okay. You didn't care? All right, fine. Congratulations, Fallon. Sorry. Even with all of that aside, when it comes to Porsha, we knew a lot. We knew, and she knew a lot. You're not telling me the same woman that blocked me, and I'm not tagging her, I'm not in her comment section, I'm not forwarding things to her, you know what I mean? Blocked me. So you're not telling me that you don't, or maybe that's what she does. Maybe she didn't see it, y'all. Maybe she blocked it all out because ignorance is bliss. Maybe that's what she did. Maybe that's what it is. She doesn't want to hear the truth. She doesn't want to hear the truth. So that's what she blocks all that stuff out. So she didn't know about all his stuff that people have been reporting on for months before she married him. All right, so maybe I should feel sorry for Porsha. But she decided not to hear any of this information. Sage says that her tears seem performative. All right. Juanita says, I have the same conflicting feelings, Kempire. I want to feel for her, but I'm not able to. Like, girl. And I'm still keeping an open mind when it comes to the Porsha of it all, because maybe on some level she did convince herself that she was in love with Simon, that this was a real relationship. I don't know. Or maybe in her head, because again, I always tell you guys, people get married for different reasons. Some people get married for love, and some people get married for financial stability or certain lifetime goals. Again, maybe that's what it was. Maybe on some level she convinced herself that she loved him, but she also said, I want financial security. Because you now see what Simon is fighting. He doesn't want to pay her for half of the equity of this $7 million home. And he doesn't want to have to pay her the money that he would have to pay her based off the prenup. He's fighting the prenup. So maybe, who knows? But all right. Okay. So Porsha gets emotional talking about that. And she says, this is why she doesn't feel like she has the capacity to argue with Shamea. She doesn't want to divorce her best friend. And I have to say this. I felt her on that. That she's going through this divorce. The last thing that she wants to do is lose her best friend at the same time. But I feel like everything Porsha does in her life is always surrounded around her. I never really see Porsha, and I could be wrong, but I would have to kind of go back and watch some of the past seasons with Porsha. I feel like everyone treats Porsha with kid gloves. And everyone is just sort of like, oh, Porsha, woo, 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 Porsha.
Garcelle!
Oh, wait, not Garcelle.
Woo, woo, woo.
Like, look, everyone's like, woo, woo, Porsha, woo, woo, woo. And I'm just like, Porsha's a 40-something-year-old woman. She's grown. I just don't feel like it's one thing to have those moments, but then, well, no, Porsha has layers. Porsha shows up for other people. And I'm like, Porsha doesn't show up for other people. It doesn't feel like. She doesn't show up for other people. All right. So we had that scene. Look, I'm trying to get to the other scene. to the other scene. All right, let me just talk about the Drew of it all. Drew FaceTimes with her mother. And Drew, this is probably why Drew wanted to film with Dennis. This is why Drew is desperate to create her storyline. I'm not interested, Drew. I'm sorry. I realized that this week. I was like, I'm really not in. And I get it. It's probably a real situation for her. But I'm just like, you decided to marry him. What do you want me to do with this? You want me to feel sorry for you? No, you decided to marry this man. You saw that this man, you're not telling me that Ralph all of a sudden turned into a creep. Okay? He's always been a creep. He's been this way since the beginning of your marriage. And I believe he has cheated on you. And I do believe that you maybe cheated on him, but it was like a cheat back. So Drew FaceTimes with her mom, Jeanette. And we find out that Ralph is trying to get Drew's divorce attorney recused from the case, apparently because she tried to form a new LLC for Drew. And now he's trying to get 40% of Drew Sidora LLC and this new entity that she had formed. But she said that she formed Drew Sidora LLC back in 2005. So she's had this LLC before him. So how does he claim to get 40% of that? Again, we don't have the details of what he's done for that or his claims. And apparently he still has not turned over his financials. And apparently, according to Drew, they have had separate accounts and things like that. I wonder if they had like one joint account. But she said that they've had separate accounts and he hasn't turned over his financials. She also talked about how Ralph locked her out of the house when she came home, and she said it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Where were you, though? Where were you at 1 o'clock in the morning? In the studio? Maybe. She could have been in the studio. So she says he locked her out of the house. She had to go to a hotel. So Jeanette is on the FaceTime, and Jeanette's just like, she doesn't know what Ralph is doing with his lying and conniving self. So you may have seen it that Ralph has taken to social media, and now he's slamming Mama Jeanette, Pastor Jeanette. I got it here. And Drew is responding to him. So first, Ralph says, Mama gotta watch her mouth. Don't you remember I saved you after you spent all your husband's money and had nothing? I was your angel then. Things change fast, doesn't it? That's what Ralph said. So Drew says to him, disrespecting my mother, especially on a public platform, is completely unacceptable. She's simply speaking from a mother's perspective based on what she witnessed. Please stop the unnecessary negativity and show some basic respect. Well, some might say, well, your mother disrespected him on national television, which is a public platform. Then there's that. But am I surprised that your mother is going to say that in your defense or have your back in a divorce? No. If she said anything else, I'd be like, here we go. No, I understand she has her daughter's back. But Ralph, I feel like you didn't have to go on social media and say all of that. And I'm willing to bet money Ralph is only telling us half the story in regards to him helping. And here's the thing. This tells me your true, genuine nature in regards to helping her. So that you would have something in the back in your back pocket to throw in her face later? Probably. He's a weird person. He gives weirdo energy. I never liked him, and I've been saying that. Drew, I understand why y'all were together because you kind of give weird energy too. But I got your back on this divorce. But again, I really don't care. I hope y'all divorce by the end of the season because honestly, if y'all talking about this in your relationship next season, I really don't care. And a lot of people were shocked that they even brought Drew back. I was shocked too. But I guess they wanted a connection to last season, being brought into this season. Maybe. Foxy says she seems like a lovely mother. She does. He could have ignored it. He could have been mature and said, well, that's her daughter, but whatever. But he had that in his back pocket and he ran with it. Am I surprised? No, not at all. Guys, if you're just joining us, we are recapping the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Be sure, if you're part of the replay crew, to let us know how you would rate this week's episode of Atlanta. And don't forget, All of the podcast episodes of our live recaps and special episodes, like the weekend update that I gave you guys over the weekend, are available on the Kempire podcast. Subscribe today and make sure you give us a 5-star rating. We're trying to get to 1,000 reviews on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. We're close. We're only a couple hundred away from getting to 1,000 reviews. So be sure to give us a 5-star review on the Kempire podcast. Okay. All right. Back to this. So this is what Ralph had to say about Drew's mother. Okay. And Drew responded. Okay. All right. So back to this. Angela, speaking of mothers, Angela and her mom comes over. Her mother has now passed away. We found that out because Angela took to social media and revealed that. So let me just read that for you really quickly. So Angela posted this with a picture of her mom on social media saying, "Tonight's episode includes my mommy. It's almost impossible to believe she isn't here with us. I'm so grateful she made her on-screen debut, even if it's just for a moment." Thank you so much for the gifts, TikTok. The world, oh wait, she passed suddenly. My world shattered in an instant. The pain, the loss, the heartbreak. Words can't even begin to describe it. The world will never get to witness her jovial spirit, her laughter, her love, and that hurts more than I can put into words. I have to say though, in that one scene, we got a little bit of like her jovial spirit and her humor. We miss her more than ever. I hope I made her proud. I know she's watching over us. Even now, she lives on through me. Her strength, her humor, her unconditional love, they've woven into every fiber of who I am. Mommy, I love you endlessly. You are my everything, my inspiration, my light, my forever. They say it gets easier. That's hard to believe. P.S. This was filmed over a year ago. In the wake of such a tragic loss, all family issues are insignificant. Because she's talking about the issues with her sister, her avoiding her sister and not talking to her sister because of what happened between her sister and her daughter, Amari. She says, P.S. She says, I wish nothing but peace and love for everyone. Which makes me wonder, because of the loss of her sister, did that bring her and her sister back together? Maybe she didn't want to reveal that because maybe that's something they discuss later on in the season. So my condolences to Angela and her family, but I am glad that we were able to get this scene, because this scene will live on forever. Will live on forever on this show. And I think that was really nice for them to share, because one of the things that I got from the scene, and it reminded me of Candy and Mama Joyce, is that she is going to be loyal to her mother to a fault sometimes, okay? And her mom talks about the issues between Angela and her sister. And Angela seems as if, well, I feel like you haven't stepped up for me before. She didn't get into depth in regards to what those moments were, but she has felt this way, that her mom hasn't stepped up and defended her in the past. And she felt like that's what her mom was doing again, okay, when it comes to her daughter. So, and her sister. So she also talks about the issues between, which I thought was awkward how they brought up Margaret's issues with Charles, but I guess because they talked about it during the season, they wanted to bring it up in this scene. And apparently Charles was being Charles and was talking about how Angela doesn't clean up. And Angela's mother was like, you ain't going to talk to my baby like that, which ended up causing an issue between Charles and the mother. And they haven't talked in 3 years. Lord. Hold on. Let me see this. Okay. All right. There we go. Let me say thank you too before we move on. So Angela talks about that in regards to the issues between Charles and her mom. And the mom, this is where we got to see a little bit of the mom's funny side, because the mom was sort of like, well, I love my son-in-law. I love him. And then she says, what does she say? She says, even though they are almost the same age. She's like, now you taking a dig at his age? I don't understand why it has taken 3 years. I feel like there's so much more to that story than just a quick comment about what she says to Charles in defense of her daughter. And now 3 years, they haven't spoken. I feel like there's, and again, we're watching an edited show, and maybe they did talk about it at length and they're not showing it. It just feels like more happened there. Edward, thank you so much for the super chat. Edward says, is it rude for me to say I think Ralph is a scam artist? For a man to be asking to basically take everything Drew worked for me is weird. I mean, even before we got this scene, I felt that way about him. Remember, we used to call him Tommy because it was sort of like, what do you do? What is your job? But then again, I feel like Drew has kind of done that too. So they're birds of a feather. Zoe, thank you so much for being a member for the super chat. Zoe says, I am so bored. I am not invested at all. Damn, in our live recap. No, you're kidding. I'm kidding. Can it end already? I don't trust them to pull an OC and give us a good show next season. Yeah, I have to say, like, especially this episode was kind of lackluster. Tyron, thank you so much for the super chat. Tyron says, but why wait till we get a peach to get tired of the friendship? Shamia, allow them girls to come question her not past issues. To come question her past issues. Yeah, and look, some of you have said what Angela said in the after show, and I'm going to play that clip in just a second. Samantha, thank you so much for the super chat. Samantha says, I think Diane tried to sleep with Shamia's daddy. Why y'all starting stuff? Laughing my A off and tried to spin it. Really? Come on, Samantha. Don't just start making stuff up, Samantha, but that's a juicy story if it was true. Duchess, thank you so much for the super chat. Duchess says, Porsha and Shamea give me Joan and Tony T. Joan and Tony from Girlfriends? Porsha and Shamea? Now I got to think about that friendship dynamic. You think? I need to go rewatch Girlfriends to kind of unpack that again. Demi, thank you so much for the super chat. Demi says, I don't believe Pilar asked about Simon. Brooklyn doesn't even ask about Mark. Can I be honest with you? Every time she talks about PJ missing Simon, I'm like, I don't know if I believe that. But maybe she did. I don't know. But you know what it is? After Shamea calls and breaks the fourth wall and calls Porsha out for not being her real self when these cameras are up, it just for me solidifies it. Like, so what is real? They're going to have to pay you more? Pay you more for what, Porsha? You're not giving anything this season. So at least give us something. So I wonder, like, will the real Porsha please stand up? Lakeisha says, Ralph must have Drew's name trademarked. Oh, Lord. Lakeisha, thank you for the super chat. Let's hope not. Here for the videos. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hi, Kempire. Much love from Houston. I always watch these while working from home on Mondays. Happy belated birthday. My birthday is on Thursday. Yes, I'm a Gemini. Thank you for all the updates. Well, happy early birthday here for the videos. And thank you so much for watching. And I would love to come to Houston because I already know that's going to happen. Y'all going to be like, come to Houston. I'm trying, y'all. I've sent emails. Maybe these promoters don't love me as much as y'all do. All right. Before we move on, let me just make sure I drop the call and link for our members first. So if you're a member of the channel, I'm going to drop the call and link for you guys on the community tab, the post tab, whatever they're calling it nowadays. Live chat. Be sure to like the video. We have 2,400 of you here watching, and we only have not even 600 likes. Let's get those likes up, and I will drop the calling for the general audience. But if you're a member of the channel, Royal Court members and Senior Royals, I'm going to drop the calling for you guys first before I get to the rest of our recap. Team Kempire members, I will drop the calling for you guys shortly. Let me just move this here. All right. And let me drink my water. All right. So Angela and her mom had that conversation. All right, let's talk about Khloe and Kelly. They're driving. She's getting her driving lessons. Khloe is a fellow Taurus like me. Khloe's birthday was recently. Happy birthday, Khloe. I understood this relationship very clearly. Khloe's like, I want a BMW. And she's like, who's paying for that BMW? You. You can afford it. You can afford it. I'm telling you right now, Kelly is a good child. Because a Taurus child is not going to put you through it. She might challenge you, but I'm sure Khloe's grades are good. I'm sure Khloe doesn't give her a problem. I'm sure Khloe helps her with her little sisters. Khloe is perfect in my book. Yes, because she's a Taurus. Tiffany on TikTok said that driving scene was annoying. So sidebar, Kelly was on Watch What Happens Live. Kelly, what the hell were you wearing? Is it because you got rid of your stylist or your stylist got rid of you and is now working with Britt? Kelly, what the hell were you wearing? That was the most hideous dress I've ever seen. With the big old thing on the side. It's very in line with your personality, over the top. But I was like, what is going on? What is happening here? I hated that outfit. I was like there was a lot of fashion moments with Kelly this season. I'm like, when we talk about Shamia's bad fashion, we got to also talk about Kelly's bad fashion. They're more bad than they're good. Just saying, in my opinion, as a fashionista. All right. So Kelly is talking about in this particular scene that Khloe was just like, I already know how I'm going to make my money. I'm going to help manage the restaurant. And that's when they talk about the Sandy Springs location. Is that the location that she's getting sued for? That she didn't pay the rent? Remember? So they flash back and they show the scenes of her Sandy Springs location of her trying to get this place together. And I'm assuming that this place still has not opened. Right? And it, again, makes me look at Kelly and how she spends her money. I'm like, Kelly, like, this money, like, I understand the restaurant business, but the restaurant business is not enough to be like splurging the way that you splurge. But again, maybe she has other things that she does that's not highlighted on the show, which is possible. But we also know with these housewives, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. Well, maybe y'all don't know, but I know. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors when it comes to these housewives and their money. For the most part, there's a handful of housewives that have money. So you Real Housewives of Rhode Island ladies, and we saw a picture of them over the weekend. I don't know if you saw this on social media. A picture of the ladies. If y'all thought y'all had a problem figuring out who Meredith and Lisa was in their first season, I wish us a luck with the four of these women that all look like Meredith and Lisa. I was like, who's who? But Rhode Island ladies, I hope y'all had got some real money. People were like, they're shopping at a mall? Well, rich people also love to shop at the malls too, okay? Judgy. So we have that scene with Khloe and Kelly driving. Kelly's very nervous with Khloe's driving. Khloe's just like, I already know what I'm going to do in order to make money. And then they talk about the Sandy Springs location. Who cares? All right. We then get another scene with Drew and her mom. This must have been a filler episode because we already had a scene with Drew and her mom. But okay, Drew's mom is now in town. All right. So in this scene, Drew's mom points out that the kids are different. Here's the thing. I don't believe the court. And again, I'm not an attorney and I have never been through a divorce like this one with children. However, I don't believe the court said that they couldn't talk about the divorce with the children. I believe the court said they couldn't disparage each other to the children. But again, I could be wrong. But I don't know if I believe that the court told Drew and Ralph that they couldn't at least start introducing what's going on between the parents. You know what I mean? Because clearly the kids know something's going on. Daddy's in the basement all the time. You're up here. You have to leave the house every 3 to 5 weeks. The kids know something's going on. But it's not lost on me. There are a lot of parents think that they can hide these things from their children and think that the children do not notice. But clearly the children do notice, and Drew's mom points it out. Jeanette's just like, if I can't get these kids under control, it tells you something's going on with these kids. And I don't agree that the court has told you guys that you can't have a conversation with the kids and that this is affecting the kids. So Drew starts crying and getting really emotional. And you know what they always say with Drew, every time she starts crying, is it real? Is she performing? I mean, no, I don't know. I mean, these are her children. In a moment like this where you find out where in your delusion, the kids are okay. They don't really sense anything different. And then your mom is saying, no, things are different. I'm noticing things with the children. So Drew gets really emotional and starts crying, bawling. And she's like, Mommy, I can't hear this. I can't hear this. I can't do this right now. Tiffany says her crying came across performative on TikTok. Keita says, I believe Ralph is lying to the courts. I think he's lying about a lot of stuff. But that's me. Why I see it. It says Shamia said on the Breakfast Club, Portia's off camera is more vulnerable, but that's hard to be on reality TV. Maybe. I think that was also Shamia protecting Porsha again. That could be just her way of saying, oh, she's more vulnerable off camera, which she probably is, but it makes me wonder, like, what is Porsha like off camera? They're going to have to pay her more? Girl, they're paying to see your life. And you're probably the highest paid this season. No, not probably. You are the highest paid this season. They got to pay you more for you to actually tell your truth? Well, you're coming across, a lot of people are saying that you are falling flat this season. Because you're not showing up. You're not giving your full self. And it makes me wonder, when did we ever really get her full self? Probably her first season. That's the problem when you keep people on reality television so long. They start becoming a caricature of themselves. They start safeguarding. And look, I don't believe that reality TV stars have to give us everything of their lives. No. However, I still need you to show up and be real. Because no matter how we feel about Nene, I never really got the vibe from Nene that she's being fake or orchestrated. You know what I mean? But Thailand says highest paid for no reason. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Jocelyn says, I think Ralph and Mia need a podcast. Don't give them ideas, please. I mean, it'd be another podcast that I would be ignoring, though, in my opinion. All right. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. We don't just talk about housewives here on the channel. We talk about everything in pop culture. And if you missed it last week, I gave you daily recaps and summaries of the Diddy trial. And I will be working on day 6 Diddy trial summary later today. So make sure you buckle up. You can also hear those Diddy trial updates on the Kempire podcast, wherever it's easier for you. A lot of you enjoy being able to take some of our live recaps and these Diddy updates on the go, and you can do that on the Kempire podcast. Don't forget, you can also join Club Kempire, where I give you some exclusive thoughts and exclusive tea on the Kempire, the Club Kempire Apple Podcasts subscription. Okay? So be sure to check that out. There, you will have a free 3-day trial. All right? That's exclusively on the Kempire podcast. Barry, thank you so much for being a member and celebrating 17 months. Barry says that she's probably the same Jezebel spirit-filled airhead off camera that she is on camera. I should probably have read that before I brought it up. Damn, Barry. Thank you for being a member. How I See It TV says, Shamia is coming off manipulative. Porsha didn't badmouth her. Not Portia's fault. The cast is bringing to her things that Shamia did tell them. Dem, Addie, they're the same. Look, I agree. I feel like even in the conversation at the end, we see that Shamia has had some issues with Porsha and now is finally speaking them. And literally in this moment, so those issues that you said that you guys have dealt with really have not been dealt with. You still had an issue because you literally were spilling all of this in this conversation. But again, she's a Taurus, so I believe she probably was holding on that for years. Ms. Parker, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Ms. Parker says, OMG, is it sad that I was trying to figure out how to watch Kempire and complete a work Zoom meeting at the same time? P.S. Porsha is a bad performer. Hashtag half live, half replay crew. Hashtag love the mod squad. Shout out to our King's Guards, guys. Be sure to send love to our King's Guards in the live chats, both here on TikTok and on YouTube. We appreciate our mods. Miss Parker, let me know if you figured it out. Yeah, I love the fact that you guys really try to squeeze me into your daily lives, even at work. I appreciate it. I don't know if your employers do, but it's okay. Keith, thank you for being a member and for the super chat. Keith says, Drew was over crying and Porsha wasn't crying enough. That scene with Porsha and Shamea looked so fake. I rolled my eyes at least 5 times. I don't feel like that scene was fake. I think there was a fake person in it, but I don't think that it was fake. Writer person, thank you so much for being a member and for the super chat. Writer person says, happy belated birthday. Today is mine and my husband was the 11th. 2 Tauruses? You and my husband share a birthday and me and Kim do so. Maybe you two would get along. I hate seeing their friendship end up here. I agree. First of all, happy birthday. Happy belated birthday to your husband. Yeah, and look, I'm still celebrating my birthday this week. Where's my birthday little thing? Yup, still celebrating my birthday this week. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Kempire. Happy birthday to me. Did you guys see Ashley on Watch What Happens Live? And Andy could not wait to bring up her singing. We put in quotes, and she wants to blame Fox 5. She's like, there was a sound issue, the sound room. And she's like, well, I've been doing my live performance and I've been killing it. Look.
Lies! The lie!
Stop. Please stop, Ashley. And it looks like they're going to be talking about it during this season of Real Housewives of Potomac. Oh, they really just want to ruin every show at this particular point. She even hinted that she might be coming to Broadway. What, in Chicago? Girl, it's going to be the lowest selling one. Jasmine says, girl, it's you. I can't. She's become so, and I know some of you are like, Kempire, she's been obnoxious. Oh, but she's irked my nerve. She's so unlikable. So unlikable. Anyway. And so I'm guessing her storyline next season is going to be her dating Josh Harlow and her singing career. Anyway. All right. And this is why I praise people like Drew and Shamea, because they can actually sing. They've wanted to sing for a very long time. They will sing Ashley under a table. Okay? But anyway. All right. Let's get to the Shamea and Porsha conversation. I rewound this conversation multiple times just to kind of pick up on the vibes. And immediately when Porsha sat down, she was definitely having these sort of passive-aggressive movements and yawns and seeming like that she was being dismissive and bored with the conversation. Even in the beginning, her mom FaceTimes her. You're not telling me her mom didn't know that she was filming. Her mom FaceTimed her probably to interrupt the conversation between her and Shamea. So Shamea apologizes to Porsha for not sharing her feelings, the feelings that she's had over the years. So she apologizes to Porsha. She starts off, I have to say, Shamea gave very big Taurus energy, very apologetic, very mature, very grounded energy. Okay? So she apologizes for not sharing how she's felt over the years, because these are things that have come up recently with the other women, because they've been pointing out, is Porsha really your friend? Porsha hasn't really been there for you, blah, 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 blah. Okay? And Shamea says that she claims that Porsha makes petty posts. So she's ignored some of these things over the years. I was like, right? Porsha then lets out a sigh, like, oh. And she's just like, are you okay? Am I boring you? Shamea says that she possibly wants to see if they could possibly salvage this friendship. So Porsha is taken aback by the word possibly. She's just like, possibly? She's like, is the friendship like on a respirator? I'm saying that. She didn't say that. So in Porsha's head, the friendship is not as in a bad place as Shamea is making it. Okay? So then Shamea brings up what she brought up in the earlier scene about what Porsha's mom has said. So apparently Porsha has brought this information to Shamea, basically saying don't trust Shamea and that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So Shamea says, like, I'm hurt by Auntie Diane saying something like that. And she claims that Porsha has said that in regards to, because they really do break the fourth wall in this conversation, in regards to, like, why can't we show the friendship that we don't have on camera? Why can't we be the way that we are off camera? And she says that Porsha said to her off camera, she was like, they would have to pay me more to see that side of me. So what side of you are we getting on this show? And I think Porsha was taken aback the fact that Shamea was even saying that. And then Porsha started giving this sort of like crying voice, sort of like, Porsha, she's like, Shamea, don't do this. Don't do this. Like, what are you trying to argue with me on camera? Are you trying to argue with me on camera? Porsha was definitely giving dismissive. She was giving passive aggressive. She was definitely giving woe is me.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
She was definitely trying to do that. And then she's like, Shamea, stop. Shamea, stop. Shamea, stop. Not a tear in sight. Shamea, stop. And at one particular point, she gets up. I thought she left based off the trailer. But no, she gets up and she goes to the restroom. And Shamea is just like... And Shamea is just sharing what she's been wanting to share when it comes to her relationship with Porsha for years. She's held this all in. And I know what you all are thinking. How could you hold this all in for so many years? Well, on the after show, Angela believes that Shamea played the long game. And we're going to play this for research purposes, and this should be held under the copyright stature of fair use. Let me just play this clip for you really quickly. What Angela had to say on the after show when it comes to Shamea and Porsha's friendship.
Like her being over here, any of those things.
You know what? I'm about to throw Porsha a bone here. I think Shamea is playing the long game. I'm sorry.
What does that mean?
Well, I think that Shamea wanted to be on this platform, and her friend was on this platform. And so Shamea was willing to put up with what Porsha was offering or issuing out on the friend side to get what she wanted. I don't take Shamea to be one you can walk over.
No.
I don't take her to be one who can be manipulated. I take her to be very calculated. Her friend got on this platform, and Porsha invited her on this platform with her. And then she coveted it.
So when she said that, because remember, one of you guys called in last week and made the same speculation that Shamea was playing the long game. And look, I was like, well, okay, that's a perspective. But I also believe, being a Taurus, I believe that Shamea probably held this in for so long and also felt a loyalty to Porsha because they've been friends for so long. Because remember, some of y'all have been in relationships and remain in relationships because we've been together for so long. And that goes with friendships and love relationships. I've been in this relationship for so long, and you don't see the point in ending that friendship. Because you feel like you wear that years of friendship as a badge of honor. We've been friends this long. There's not a lot. I'm like, F that. Because what if that relationship or friendship is blocking you from allowing other people into your life? Very possible. So I don't know if I believe, and look, and Tauruses are very patient. So it is very possible. And this is coming from another Taurus to another Taurus. It's very possible that she could have played the long game. Because it's very clear that Shamea has wanted to be on Real Housewives of Atlanta. She says the only reason why she didn't do it was because Gerald did not want to film. And now that she's on...
The best piece of financial advice I've ever received is to pay yourself first. That's why now with every paycheck I receive, I start by putting a little bit away for those rainy days. Today's episode is sponsored by Acorns. Acorns is a financial wellness app that makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now, even if all you've got is spare change. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns recommends a diversified portfolio that can help you weather all of the market's ups and downs. Using Acorns, before I knew it, I had a couple $1,000s in a little nest egg account. Sign up now and join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $25 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/BBM or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/BBM.
She wants to promote everything. She's always wanted to be famous. She's been trying to do this for years. It's very clear. So, did she play the long game? Maybe, but I also think that she really had a loyalty to Porsha. I really believe that she genuinely had a loyalty to Porsha. I don't know if I necessarily agree 100% that she played the long game so that she could still be on this show. I don't know. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. Exactly. Candace, there we go. Candace says, I can understand her POV. I tend to hold everything inside in order to avoid confrontation. And I think that's part of what we've seen with Shamia and Porsha. I definitely think that's what we've seen with Shamia and Porsha. But this conversation, although I can really appreciate the fact that Shamia, I felt like came there to really resolve things with Porsha. And Porsha, when she comes back from the bathroom, she sits down and then she tells the waitress, can we pack this up? And then Shamia's just like, oh, I guess we're done? Because she really thought she was coming here for some results. She really thought that they were going to walk out of here and be good and be in a better place. And Porsha is less like, well, I thought you were done. You know, you weren't speaking. And Shamia's just like, well, you told me to stop talking. You told me to stop. You're like, Shamia, stop. And that's the manipulative behavior from Porsha. You're sitting there telling me to stop. You're sitting there talking over me. And then when I stop talking, now the conversation's over and you're leaving. So then Porsha gets emotional. She's just like, I don't want to divorce my friend. I don't want to divorce my friend. Sidebar, in the confessionals, apparently during filming, when filming started, Porsha claims that communication between her and Shamia was already strained. So there were things happening outside of this show that we're not seeing. And according to Porsha, things were already strained. They weren't communicating when they started filming. Which it makes me wonder why. Why weren't they communicating? Was that on Porsha's side or was that on Shamia's side? Why weren't you guys communicating? I could see Shamia not hitting Porsha up because maybe she's tired of hitting Porsha up all the time. I'm assuming. But Porsha's probably like, I'm in the middle of divorce. It's always woe is me. And I don't know if you paid attention to something that Shamia said. She clearly said, I can't remember this as an exact quote, but she alluded that there's always something going on with Porsha. She didn't say it like that, and she didn't say it in a shady way. But basically, that's what she was saying. She's like, there's always something going on with Porsha. And she always allows for that. She always gives grace for that. That's got to be straining on a friendship. Like, there's always something that Portia's going through. There's always something that we've got to be mindful of and we can't bring up and blah, 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 blah. And I feel like it's very convenient that Portia's going through this divorce and you're just like, oh, I'm going through this divorce. And yes, the divorce is real. And Simon is dragging her on social media. Yes, all of that is real. But at the same time, Porsha, you put yourself in this position. You did. And you saw the way that he dragged Fallon when he was divorcing her, and you thought that he was going to do the same thing to you? People show you who they are all the time, and you refuse to see it. Just saying. Okay? No, she wasn't, Bo. Bo says Shamia was offered a peach several times. Kandi was advocating for her to be on the show for years. She didn't need Porsha. Well, that's true. That part is true. She wasn't offered a peach, though. They've only offered her a friend of role. It was only till this season that they actually offered her a peach. And the reason why they didn't offer her a peach was because Gerald did not want to film. And he's not even filming now. So it says to me that they just felt like Shamia, there was something with Shamia that they didn't feel like, no, we need to have her. So that's what I believe. Because if Kandi was advocating for her for a long time and Kandi was a heavyweight on this cast and production was still like, because production and the network can make it, they'll be like, okay, your husband doesn't want to film. We find you we find you very interesting. We're going to have you on the show. Because trust and believe, if Nene didn't have Greg, or they ended up divorced, they would have kept Nene on there because Nene was such a big personality. She had the it factor. So save me on the fact that, oh, Gerald didn't want to film and that was the only reason why the network didn't want to give her a peach. We saw last season, they gave Marlo a peach finally too. But I mean, they were desperate. They still didn't call Shamia. They could have called Shamia then. Gerald didn't have to film then. Come on. Let's be honest. And a lot of y'all were all like, Shamia, she's the glue, she's this, she's that. Now, 11 episodes later, y'all are like, she's kind of boring. Look.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Just saying, doesn't take away from, and Shamia, being boring in reality television is not, I don't think it's a diss. I actually think it's a compliment because it just means that you're normal. But that's just my opinion. But do I think that Shamia was playing the long game, like Angela said in the after show? I could see it. I can definitely see it. But at the same time, I was like, no, I really do believe that Shamia was loyal to Porsha. I really do believe that Shamia wanted to protect that friendship. And she was holding on to that friendship. But now, I feel like she was, when showing up on camera, she was just like, here it is. Here's all the things. Let me just put it all out there. Because I really do believe that that Shamia is one step closer to done with Porsha and that friendship than we realized. And I think it took this show. Well, maybe she did play the long game. Maybe she did play the long game. But here's the thing. I think even next season with Shamia, unless Shamia really gets comfortable in front of the camera, I don't see her being that girl that everyone wants to make her out to be. Sorry. And it's the one that you didn't expect that seems to be the most interesting and entertaining, Angela Oakley. Jermaine says, Shamia is actually funny to me. Look, Shamia has had some funny moments, but again, we're talking about it factor. She's had funny moments. I think everyone can have a funny moment. Porsha has funny moments, but can they carry the show? Stacey says that Shamia is no victim. Kay says that definitely giving she is tired. Koku says, I don't see it for her. Let me see. Oh, wait, let me say thank you because we had a few super chats. Guys, we're almost at 1,000 likes. We have nearly 3,000 of you guys watching on YouTube and on Facebook. Shout out to those of you watching on Twitch and Twitter. If you are a Team Kempire member, I've dropped the call link for you guys as well. We're going to take some quick callers to talk about the latest episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. If you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions and ratings of this week's episode. I feel like this week's episode was mid for me. I was kind of bored. Honestly, what saved the episode was this conversation at the end between Porsha and Shamea. Because that was there, I would probably give this episode a 4.5, maybe a 5. It was just for me. Yeah, because that was like really the only thing that was happening. And by the end of Porsha and Shamea's conversation, they do end up hugging it out. Portia's like, she doesn't want to divorce her friend. She wants to be in a good place with her. Anytime anyone brings any information to me, I'm going to bring it to you. I'm shocked, though, after 20-something years of friendship, Porsha, that wasn't your first inclination, which is why I speculated last week that I don't know if I believe that this is 100% true. I feel like this is just you trying to drag out a storyline between you and Shamea because nothing else is going on with you. Because I would have thought a friendship of 20-plus years, these newbie Johnny-come-latelys and Angela, who you had issues with, that you're going to automatically believe them and not go have a conversation with your best friend. But again, maybe they did. And again, she said, Shamea, play along. I need a storyline. The network is putting pressure on me. I believe that. I believe the network's like, well, Porsha, what exactly are we going to share with you? Like, what are we filming today? What's going on? We can't film in your house. We have to remember, Porsha was given a lot of different blows this season in regards to her storyline that she originally was going to come to us with. The divorce. She was supposed to be married. She was supposed to be able to show this new luxurious lifestyle that she's living. $7 million home. Could not film in it. There's a lot of stuff. And she tried to drag out the stuff with Drew. I wouldn't be surprised if production was like, okay, we need something else. People are going to get tired of the Drew of it all. And people did get tired of the Drew of it all. We're not even done with the Drew of it all this season. As you saw from the preview for next week, we will see the fact that Phaedra Parks is going to show up. Again, says to me, production and the network were like, let's bring Phaedra in. Let's stir things up a bit. Because I believe that they were bored too. For me, that wasn't a good sign. Let's be honest. If production felt like the season was fire and it didn't need a Phaedra, they wouldn't have called Phaedra. Phaedra's coming in as a full-time cast member, full-time peach holder. And she filmed for 2 weeks. First of all, word on the street, according to Carlos, originally they were trying to bring Phaedra in Before they brought her to Married to Medicine, they were trying to bring her in for that season, but it wasn't in the budget. But Married to Medicine had it in the budget. So all of a sudden, they have it in the budget to bring Phaedra in. They were desperate. They were trying to save the season. That's the vibe that it's getting. Sidebar. I see that of course, anytime that Rihanna slips into the DMs of one of the housewives, they have to mention it. They mentioned it on Watch What Happens Live, and Kelly talked about it, that Rihanna texts me and da-da-da. And Andy was like, so she's watching the season. So it's good to know that she's enjoying the season. He had to get that in there to help promote what the ratings are not saying in regards to the season. The season is giving mid. And again, it will be interesting to see if Phaedra's able to come in and at least spark some hope into it. And I'm open to that because at least this is something that makes more sense in regards to Phaedra being there. But I'm not that hopeful because what is Phaedra going to offer us? Shake? That relationship? Okay. Relationship? Okay. Isn't he dating a white girl? Jada, thank you so much for the super chat. Jada says, Porsha is a grade A manipulator. Cancer behavior. Jada said it. I didn't say it. Y'all can't get on me. Jada said it, but Jada, girl. Raj, thank you so much for the super chat. Raj says, the moms may have fell out because Miss Diane could have ate a pepperoni pizza in Shamia's mom's bed like Cordell's bed. I said that on Twitter. I said, did it involve a pepperoni pizza? A pepperoni pizza sounds good right about now. All right. Queen, thank you so much for the super chat. Queen says, remember Candy advised Shamia to be real because the show is about their real lives. Now we know Portia's acting for the cameras. Yeah, I feel like Shamia spilled a lot of tea on Porsha in that scene. And I was surprised. But maybe for Shamia, she was just like, well, you don't have my back. It's clear you don't have my back. So I'm just going to speak my truth right now. And she did. I don't know if there was anything left to say, even though Porsha left it open in regards to if there's anything more that you want to share about our relationship. Let me know. Okay. Did you feel resolved by the end of their conversation? I don't know. I felt like Porsha just wanted to put a pin in it, and she just wanted to just to sort of like breeze over the situation. And I have to say, Shamia felt like she was able to get out a lot of her stuff. I don't know if there's any more that Shamia wanted to talk about. Maybe it's the mother stuff that Shamia wants to talk about. Cece, I did. Cece says, Kempire, did you see Phaedra with Dr. Jackie and Dr. Simone at the NBC upfronts? Yes, and they did like a cute, funny video about those B words, and then they come into the camera frame. So it seems as if all is good between Phaedra and the doctors of Married to Medicine. Married to Medicine is literally filming as we speak. It looks like Dr. Mimi is coming back. As you already know, what's her name? Sweetie isn't coming back. It looks like Dr. Contessa is coming back. I wonder if Dr. Contessa is going to be full-time. Because the way they treated Dr. Contessa, you would have thought she was full-time last season. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's full-time this season. We shall see. They definitely need to do some stuff with that cast, though. But seeing Dr. Simone and Dr. Jackie both back, I'm like, there definitely needed to be a shift. One of them needed to go, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. I don't produce the show. Stacey says, nope, there was no resolve. Jermaine says, is Porsha with another African? Well, that's the rumor on the street. With the president of Nigeria, they're rumoring about. I don't know. Isn't he married?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Okay. All right, let's get to some callers so I can get up out of here. Because I got to go finish covering the Diddy case. Because although I give you guys a summary, I am looking at the different testimony throughout the day to make sure that I'm able to add context to some of the summaries that I'm giving you. Don't forget, guys, be sure to check out if you missed day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of last week with Cassie Ventura's testimony and a little bit of Dawn Richard's testimony. Be sure to check that out. I'm going to talk a little bit more today about Dawn Richard's testimony as well. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you turn your notifications on, and make sure you check out all of the things that you may have missed. Okay. All right. If you're a member of the channel, I've dropped the call link for you guys. Let me see if we have any members backstage. Let me bring up my, oh yeah, we got a full house backstage. So if you're a member of the channel, I've posted the call in link back on the post tab. Live chat, we're almost at 1,000 likes. Let's get to 1,000 likes, and I will drop the call link for you guys as well. RC, thank you so much for the super chat. RC says, when Anne said that she didn't know how Shamea felt about the wedding without her telling them, like she opened up, that's what made Porsha believe Angela. When Angela said that she didn't know how Shamea felt about the wedding without her telling them, like she opened up, that's what made Porsha believe Angela. But even if that's the case, even if you believe Angela, if that's your friend, you go to your friend. You don't just be like, oh, I believe her. You know what I mean? I'm still going to give my friend of how many years, for many, of many years, I'm going to give them more grace than I'm going to give Angela, who I just got into beef with. You know what I'm saying? Because regardless, even if you believe Angela, I'm going to call my friend off camera and ask her what the hell's going on. Okay. All right. Let's get to this. Let's get to the callers. A reminder, the callers' opinions do not represent the opinions of myself, the Kempire LLC, or our sponsors. Speaking of our sponsors, guys, I've been trying out some new products from our friends over at Butter. And if you've been loving my skincare routine, be sure to check that out. More information on how you can get 10% off at Butter. Head on over to butterskin.com/Kempire. More information will be available in the description. All right. Mr. Melon Magic says they are more frenemies than friends. I never got frenemies from Porsha and Shamea. But again, just because you see someone as a best friend doesn't mean that they see you as the best friend. They might say it to people, but doesn't mean in their mind they really see you as their best friend. For Shamea, I can see how she sees Porsha as her best friend. But for all we know, in Porsha's head, she doesn't see Shamea as a best friend. But again, I feel like once we know what happened between Shamea's mom and Miss Diane, Porsha's mom, it makes me wonder. I feel like it would give us a lot more context to the dynamics of this friendship between all the women. Okay? All right. Let's get to our callers. Callers, I'm going to bring you up. Cynthia's first. Cynthia, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Last night's episode was okay.
Oh.
It was okay. Maybe a 5.
Okay.
I read, Charles is an Aquarius.
Yes.
And they say he's an Aquarius. And they said that, and Angela's a Taurus, they can be compatible, but it requires effort on both sides.
Yeah.
Effort and understanding on both sides.
Yes.
I am so ashamed of Porsha. Porsha, you're making us cancers look bad. I'm not like that, Kempire.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Thank you, Kempire.
They do say that Cancers and Tauruses are very compatible, though. Have I ever dated? I never dated Have I dated a Cancer? I have to think about that. Have I ever dated a Cancer? I don't think I've ever dated a Cancer. Have I? And I think that's what people think when I have these comments about Cancers, that it's because I dated one. No, it's based off of friendships with multiple, and I base this off of multiple Cancers. Shout out to the Cancers. Apparently, we're still an ideal match. Cancers, Capricorn, Pisces are an ideal match with Taurus. But like Cynthia said, I feel as if it doesn't matter your astrological sign. If you really come in understanding someone's birth chart, not just their sun sign, understanding someone's birth chart, you can make that work. But you just have to be mindful of that, or if you're willing to do that. And us stubborn Tauruses sometimes are like, Charles is a Sag. According to Angela said on the after show that he's an Aquarius. Angela said that. So I don't know. But even if he is a Sagittarius, it's the same thing. You have to go in understanding that personality. All right, I've talked too much. Daylin's backstage. Daylin, what did you want to share in regards to Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
Well, how are you?
I'm good. I just want to say I honestly feel like Shamia and Porsha shouldn't even be friends because you guys One, I could see the calculated energy from Shamia because if I have a problem with my friend, let's nip this in the bud so it doesn't cause more problems. And Porsha is just a manipulator and a gaslighting friend. So that's not going to end well on both ends. So I feel like they shouldn't be friends at all.
Oh. You end the friendship.
Exactly. Because we're too old to be acting like this, and we're too old to not protect our energies from bad ones. And that's all I have to say.
Thanks, Taylor. Take care. Deshay says, hold up. Deshay says, my best friend's a Taurus. May 11th too? Hey, best friend. I'm a Cancer through and through. I can see that, but this is why it's important to know your birth chart. It is important to know your birth chart. Because it makes sense. And it also makes sense the types of people. Remember, I also have a Cancer rising. So that's probably also another reason why a lot of Cancers love me. Cancers love me. Right, Cancers? I'm so egotistical. Must be my Leo moon. All right. Cindy says, I do not like how Angela's husband treats her. We talked about that at the beginning, Cindy. I don't know if you're just joining us. Not feeling it either. All right. Taurus with the T's backstage. Taurus with the T. What did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. Happy Monday.
You too.
Can you hear me? I always have to check.
Yes.
Okay. What I want to say is Porsha and Shamea, that scene, I can see both sides, honestly. And I kind of agree with Angela. I feel like a real friend, if we were going to patronize and also be upset with how Giselle confronted Candace about the Chris thing once the camera started rolling, I kind of feel the same way about Shamia. Like, how can you be friends with a person and have all this pent up negative energy about the stuff that they're doing to you, and then you wait until you get behind the camera to do it? But I also don't agree with the way that Porsha is handling Shamia on social media. Like, it seemed like a veiled threat for her to say wrong road and don't do this, don't F with my mom. It's almost like, okay, well, I guess we were never friends. And Porsha was that they were both giving hostile at that dinner, but I think it's completely fake. There's no way that I could have all these feelings for you for all of this time and then just kiss and make up and say, oh, well, you're going through a really hard time. I don't want to make it harder. Girl, F your hard time. You are pissing me off. You are not being a good friend. And why does it always have to be about you? I wish Shamia would have led with that instead of just acting like a desperate girlfriend in that conversation to be loved by Porsha. Girl, she's just not as interested in you, and that is okay. People outgrow friendships. But anyways, I'm gonna keep watching.
Yep. Thanks, Taurus with the T. Bye. And look, you teach people how to treat you. And I think Shamia, for a very long time, taught Porsha, this is how you can treat me and I'll take it. And now maybe Shamia being on this show, she waited all this time to get this opportunity. Now that she has this opportunity, maybe Shamia did change. Maybe Shamia's like, I am the star. People are telling me I'm the glue. Production and the network are making me feel like I'm the star. Because I'm the married one and I have the $9 million home. I did not warn y'all, did not tell you that production and the network would probably start to do that, and that would get to some people's heads. Not to say I'm just playing devil's advocate here, okay? All right. Some might say I'm playing Portia's advocate. All right. Tyler's backstage. You're going to bring Tyler up next. Tyler, what did you want to share?
Hi, I think what's going on is, again, I think Portia's mom has more to do with how she treats Shamia than people are giving credit. Because what I think is going on is, it's cool to kiki with her in the background and y'all have this best friend aesthetic, but your mom will see everything on the show. Because if you pay attention, she leans on her mom for a lot of advice. Think about how she treated others in the past with the friendships, like i.e. Nene, when they were ready to make up. It seems like whatever her mom says, she tries to lean towards it. And I doubt that their relationship is as close as they say it is. It seems as though Miss Diane is one of those moms who's kind of wants to live her daughter's life, and Porsha does whatever she can do to please her mom so she doesn't want to make her mad, because it shows. It's like, if you're one way off the show, y'all are all kiki, kaka, and all this and this and this and that, but you have to change on camera. It's not about money. It's because you don't want to piss Miss Diane off. It shows. Porsha has in the past said that Diane prioritize her brother over her. So if you really think about it, I think that's what it is. It's that whole mother-daughter thing, and she really doesn't want to piss her mom off. It has nothing to do with Shamia or anybody. It's going against what Diane feels, and it shows. That's all.
Okay. And I wonder if Miss Diane's the one who posted that that Instagram story over the weekend.
Well, it would make sense because Miss Diane, you know, if you hear her speak, she doesn't always use the correct grammar, so she may have done that. Oh, let me stop. All right, thank you, Kempire.
Bye, Tyler. Because I was like, because I was reading that post over the weekend. If you saw the video that I did, I said, was she lit when she wrote this? I was like, what's going on? She posted it and deleted it. So I wonder if it was Miss Diane that posted that. Tyler might be onto something. That might be what it is. She doesn't want to piss off her mom, and she's got to. That makes. I mean, it always goes back to the mothers. Mothers are very important when it comes to the children and their relationships, not just their relationships with their future partner, but with their friendships. This is why we need to know what happened between Miss Diane and Mama Morton. Investigators, get to it and report back. I'm too busy with Diddy right now. Okay. All right. Toya's backstage. We're going to bring Toya up next. Before I do that, guys, we're almost at 1,000 likes. Keep liking the video. Once we get to 1,000 likes, I will drop the call-in link for the general audience as well. I do want to say thank you because we had a couple of super chats. Samara, thank you so much for the super chat. Samara says, I think they are the kind of best friends who are only still close because of how long they've known each other. I don't really see them being that close or hanging out like best friends usually do. I could see that. Again, I said that I feel like they wear that friendship as a badge of honor. Look, I've been best friends. We've been best friends for such a long time. I can't end that friendship. I'd end the friendship right quick. Tiara, thank you so much for the super chat. Tiara says, I'm a Cancer, Sag rising, and I've dated a couple of Cancers. I wouldn't recommend, but I hear it's the Cancer men that are the problem. Okay. All right. Let me bring up Toya next. Toya, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
I just want to say I think that Angela Oakley's playing the long game. I think she's one of those wives that Andy Coleman warned us about, that they come on the show knowing that their marriages are headed for divorce and they come to establish themselves. Shamia has been friends with Candy and Porsha for a very, very long time. I don't think that this was some kind of plot or a scheme that Todd set up. Also, Drew's lawyer was wrong for removing Ralph's name off the LLC because that was marital property and she had no right to do that, according to attorney Simone Redwine. So, yeah, I think Drew needs a new lawyer.
But did she do that, or because I didn't understand what Drew was trying to say, because Drew made it seem as if the lawyer created a new entity.
Yes, that she dismantled the one that they had, that Drew and Ralph had together. Okay. And then she created a new one that's just for Drew, so that Drew could have all the money instead of just the 60%. So technically, you're not supposed to do that when you're going through a divorce. Everything is up for grabs. Huh?
The lawyer should know that.
Right. So the lawyer couldn't really get in trouble, and that's why Ralph wants her off the case. So shame on Drew's lawyer.
See, they left that out of the episode.
Attorney Simone Redwine, she broke it down.
All right. Thanks, Toya. All right. Before we bring up Scarlett, I do want to say, guys, we just dropped the call link for the general audience. And for those that want to hear more of our in-person live hot topics and reality TV recaps, don't forget the Kempire After Dark live tour is coming to a city near you. Philadelphia, I'll see you on July 10th. Then we'll be in Atlanta on August 5th. Then somewhere else in August, but stay tuned. And then, of course, New York City on September 12th. More information is available in the description. Go get your tickets today if you haven't already. The New York City show will have a live stream option for those cities that I won't be attending, or you can't make it, or maybe you want to see both shows. Just what I say in Atlanta is not what I'm going to say in Philadelphia, or what I'm going to say in New York City come September 12th. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Go get your tickets today. All right. Let's bring up Scarlett next. Scarlett, what's going on?
Hi, Kempire.
Hey.
I just want to say that I don't know if it's maybe the old school in me, like watching these reality TV shows, but I'm getting kind of annoyed with the Instagram posts and the constant social media posts from the cast, and Porsha constantly breaking the fourth wall. The mentions of production and filming in every episode is annoying because it takes the reality out of the reality TV. I mean, there's a reason why you're not supposed to look in the camera when you're on these shows. And I feel like they're constantly saying, oh, I brought you onto the show. I brought you onto... It's not supposed to be like that. So even with Porsha and Shamea, like, you know, saying who brought who and, you know, who mentioned who, I'm just, stop it. Like, this is not what reality TV is about, and I'm just annoyed.
Yeah. Thanks, Scarlett.
Bye.
Take care. I know, I remember, I forgot what show we were recapping, and a lot of people kept on saying that they hated the fact that we could see production. I think it was maybe Love and Marriage Huntsville. I can't remember. But some of you felt that way. It's like it was too much. Like, we don't mind a little bit of breaking the fourth wall, but you felt like it was becoming too much of breaking the fourth wall. How do you guys feel about that? If you're part of the Replay crew, be sure to let us know. Those of you that are in the live chat, be sure to let us know how you feel about that. Do you like the fact that they're breaking the fourth wall? Honestly, I like the fact that Shamea brought up what's been said off camera when it comes to her and Porsha's friendship. And I'm like, I was like, that's interesting. But then it makes me look at everything that we get from Porsha now going forward as like, is that real? Is that the real Porsha? Who knows? All right, Chef Lorraine's backstage. We're going to bring Chef Lorraine up next. Chef Lorraine, what's going on?
Hello, Kempire.
Hey.
Happy belated birthday. I'm so sorry I wasn't able to say it earlier.
No
my
problem.
Lupus has been kicking my butt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yes, I'm doing okay today. I wanted to show you my face because I know we never seen each other.
Hey.
I just want to say really fast, I might go over, but I have some stuff to say, okay? Is that okay?
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Okay, so I think in Shamia and Porsha's situation, I had to write my stuff down because I knew I wasn't going to remember. In this situation, I agree with you. Porsha is less of a friend to Shamia than she is to Porsha. And they give me that Shamia will make a suggestion about going somewhere, and Porsha will like, no, let's do something else instead. And Shamia will just say, okay. That's what I think. And as far as Charles and Angela is concerned, y'all got to get off my couple because I happen to know Charles. We used to hang out back in the day, and
really?
In the 90s and the 2000s at Chaz
At a Diddy
and
party?
Wilson's. Yeah, let me tell you, Charles is such a fun person, but he don't take no shorts. He will shut you down. He don't care if you male or female. And I can tell you that if Charles did not love Angela Oakley, they would not be together.
Ooh.
He doesn't have to show, and he never been that type of person to show, you know, all his emotions and feelings and stuff like that, because he always been like a dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, on camera, but I'm sure behind the scenes he's loving on her.
Right. Behind the scenes, I'm sure he's more lovey-dovey to her, but he's a surly dude. He always had that kind of surly old man type of attitude. You know what I'm saying? But he always been a cool guy.
Okay.
So don't let the cameras fool you. Charles and Angela are thick as thieves. If he didn't love that woman, they would never have gotten back together. Trust me. And I just have one more thing to say.
Okay.
Being that she won't come to Charlotte, I will see you in Atlanta.
See? Take notes, everyone else. It's not that I don't want to come to Charlotte, okay? But promoters in Charlotte,
I'm gonna look out for you. I know a couple of people.
We know you went to the Diddy parties with Charles Oakley.
Yes, he a cool dude. I mean, like, this has been the 90s and the early 2000s. You know, back in the day at Emily's, Chaz and Wilson's, Mo Better's. That's what we used to do back in the day.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you giving us that context because I really this week. Here's the thing, and I'm going to let you go, Chef Lorraine. I still need him because he doesn't realize how it's showing up on camera. I believe you because I've said that countless weeks leading up to this week's episode. But at some particular point, especially when the producers say, do you love Angela? Like, all jokes aside, this is my woman. I wouldn't be with her if I didn't love her. I love her down. Just that one line.
That's true.
Because I understand where Angela comes from. As a Taurus, I relate. Like, I don't need you to shout this to the world, but on some level, you're gonna have to draw a line in the sand and let people know I'm yours, and that's it.
Absolutely. You're right about that. He does need to just validate her on camera so that everybody could just shut up.
Yep. To the world. You're on a reality show.
You're right.
All right.
You're right.
Thank you so much, Chef Lorraine.
You're welcome. I love you.
Thank you. Feel better. And I'll see you in Atlanta.
You, love.
Bye. All right. Let me get to the rest of these callers. But yeah, I believe that. And I've said that week after week. And I know that's not the love language for a lot of people. And I'm not saying that would be necessarily my love language, because you ain't going to have me up on a reality show looking like this, where people are going to be like, questioning my love. Okay. Noda Queen, we're going to bring you up next. Noda Queen, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
I want to say that I kind of halfway agree with Angela. I don't think Shamia necessarily playing a long game, but she did say on the after show, like, she tried to let this be Portia's space.
Yeah.
Like, implying that's why she ain't been on the show. I think she thought the show would put them on equal footing. Sorry, I just came up the steps about a breath. I thought she thought the show would put them on equal footing, but now she's realizing that it's not, and it's kind of probably opening her eyes to what it really is. Nothing is ever going to be good enough. Like, she probably thought, oh, Portia's a real celebrity, I'm just her friend, and that's why we're not on the same level, but it's coming out different.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, really quick, with what we're seeing now with the Allie and DDG situation, we're seeing like people, his friends coming out saying, oh, he's a good guy. Oh, he would never behave like this. So just be careful. Not saying Charles is beating Angela or nothing, but just saying, like, people act very different in front of their friends than they do their partners for a reason. So keep that in mind.
That part. Thank you, Noda Queen.
Have a good one.
Thank you too. Especially because what we've seen of Angela from episode 1, she's always uplifting Charles. And I know that she has a loyalty to him for a reason that we haven't seen. Because Tauruses aren't going to be loyal to you just because. There's been a point in our lives and friendships and relationships that you've shown up, and that's why I'm loyal to you until you show me otherwise. And that's what I think what we're seeing with Shamia. We've always said that Shamia has been loyal to Porsha to a fault. I think there was a point, maybe because they grew up together and they shared so much, all their secrets and things like that, that's probably why Shamia has remained loyal to Porsha. But not to the point where you're going to make me look like a fool. Sorry. All right. DJ's backstage. I'm going to bring DJ up next. DJ, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Hey, what's up, Kempire? How you doing?
Hey, I'm well. How are you?
I'm well. You know why I think this is so boring? This nobody's married. It's like, what is going on? What happened to the couples trips and like?
Shamia's married. Angela's married.
So 2 guys. Ralph can't come. Porsha ain't got nobody. The other ones, we don't know what's going on in their marriage. It's just like, God, give us something to watch. And I was just watching the old season, and I'm like, wow, when they were in Mexico, this was peak. So that, and then secondly, I think, Shamia has a lot more to do with this storyline he's letting on. Because what the hell else would she talk about? Nothing. She's brought nothing. And then if I could, very, very quickly, I just want to say, I do like Angela and Charles and one of the other callers just said before me. I like what he brings because he has that, that New York and he has the NFL crowd and all of that stuff. So that's good. That's
NBA.
Good.
Not you getting the sports wrong.
Yeah, look, because I'm in the car and somebody just pulled up next to me. I'm like, what's going on?
Uh-oh.
No, thank you.
Thanks, CJ. Drive safely. All right. I was like, even I knew the sports. I was like, you mean the NBA? Oh, it's funny. All right. And Dira's backstage. We're going to bring in Dira up next. And Dira, what did you want to share?
Hello, Kempire.
Hey.
First of all, 2 people back. Portia's not a real celebrity. Let's calm down.
Oh.
I fully believe Porsha is at home saying, I'm the pretty one. I should have the rich husband. I should have the cars. I should do this because I think she thinks she's the prettier one because what's her name? Shamia is the darker one. And we know how that always goes. So she thinks she should have everything that Shamia has. And Porsha reminds me of a Cancer man. Every bad relationship that I have ever had that's been traumatic has been from a Cancer man. And she behaves just like a Cancer man. That's all I got to say, Kempire.
Damn. All right. Thanks, Indira. Woo! I didn't say Cancer man, but I agree. No, okay. Let me bring up Anthony. Anthony, what's going on?
Hey everyone, hey Kempire,
Hey.
Anthony from Los Angeles, California. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So I'm gonna give this episode a 6 out of 10, just like this entire season so far.
Oh.
Portia, get in front of me, and Shamia, get behind me.
Oh.
Because I'm not gonna stand for Portia and this foolishness, even though the season's still not over. I'm still right now on Team Shamia. And for lastly, for Drew and Ralph, I agree with you. I don't believe the judge would ever say, don't ever tell the children about this, because this is a part of their life. This is going to affect them one way or another, and they can pick up on things. Like me and my partner, Hector, hey, boo, hey. We have a child together that's 4, and he can pick up on things as well in terms of, did we just had an argument earlier, or we're having one in front of him? He can sense that, and he tells us that from a child. So they can sense things whether to get the full picture or not. I just don't agree with what they're doing with the children. I think it's just wrong. And lastly, a question for you and for everyone. If you were part of their situation, would you tell the children that you will be divorcing your partner or not?
I would tell them. As much as they could understand, depending on their age. But I also understand that that's a choice for parents. I leave it up to the parents, but I personally would have a conversation.
Especially. And thank you so much, Kempire.
Thanks, Anthony.
Take care.
We learned so much more about our folks. I didn't know Anthony had a child. We just found that out. I think we knew about Anthony's partner, but we didn't know that Anthony had a child. Look at us learn about our community. Okay. All right. Michael's backstage. We're going to bring Michael up next. Michael, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
Unfortunately, I won't be having any groundbreaking or nuanced comment because this week's episode was rather lackluster.
Oh.
But what I can say is I was taking the liberty of going back and watching some of the past Bravo shows. And so I was watching Porsha Got Knocked Up. Oh, my bad. Porsha Gets Pregnant, the show. And in episode 3, she was talking about her C-section and how Shamia had a C-section and everybody was trying to encourage her. You can have a C-section and do so much. Shamia did it. And Porsha said, yeah, well, Shamia's not human. And it's like, this girl finds every way she can to really show how she feel about her. This is before we even really knew what the deal was. Instead of saying, well, you know, Shamia, she's like a superwoman. She could do so much. She even degrades her in a form of complimenting her. Porsha is sick, okay? She has hatred in her heart. And like I told you guys before, it comes from her mama. Ain't nothing that we gonna say is gonna fix that except for God and therapy. All right, I'm out.
She gonna block you next too, Michael, talking about her mama.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready because you need to just stop chilling. You need to stop and chill with how you coming at my cousin. So I'm ready for it, Porsha.
You know, Michael came on a couple weeks ago, told us, you know, they're cousins by marriage, him and Shamia. Hilarious. I can't right now. Guys, keep liking the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. We're talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Queen, thank you so much for the super chat. Queen says, OMG, I will also be at the Atlanta August 3rd. I will also be in Atlanta August 3rd to watch Manchester United preseason game. Since I missed the LA show, I have to make it to Atlanta. Queen, you better come to the Atlanta show. It's only 2 more days later. Just saying. Yes, and now you got your notice. Ticket information, guys, on my Atlanta show. Philly show's coming up first on July 10th. And then my New York City show. I have another show that I haven't announced yet. And I'm still trying to make those other cities happen. I want to come to Houston and Dallas. If you know promoters, guys, please, KempireDaily@gmail.com. Thank you. All right. Actually, send it to info@TheKempire.com. That'll be easier. All right. Queen, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate your support. Mr. Melon Magic says, Kempire, your lunch is ready. Carlos is hating on you. What do you mean? Stop starting trouble. Y'all love to start trouble. What did he say? If you're going to send a super chat like that, say what was said and then send me a link. Okay? Thank you, Sage, for the super chat and for being a member. Sage says, I feel like as viewers, we just need to accept that the peak days of our HOA are dead and gone. Someone said that the other day, too. We keep comparing to what we'll never get back, and I hate that for us. Happy birthday, Kemp. Thank you so much. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people compare what they've had over the years when it comes to Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm okay with it not being Atlanta of yesteryear. but still make it interesting. And if you can't make it interesting, then let's normalize ending it. Right? Let's normalize ending it. If you feel like you can't find it, but I get it. They still make a lot of money from these shows. But I'm okay with it not being what it was before, but you're not telling me you can't find interesting people to make reality television. But fine. Keith, thank you so much for another super chat. Let me just shimmy for Keith, because Keith is always sending super chats. Thank you, Keith. Keith says, my problem is Shamea allowed Porsha to do so much to her, it's now falling on deaf ears. It's like the one friend that wants to always complain about their cheating man, but they never leave. Yeah. I mean, we never really saw Shamea complain, though, about Porsha like that, at least not in recent years. But what we saw from how many seasons ago, that would have been enough for me to be like, we can still be civil, but we're not best friends. Joanne says, we ride at dawn for Kempire. Yeah, let me know what was said, because y'all know I'm not going to go over there. All right, let me get to the last couple of callers, guys, and then I got to go. All right. We've got Ashley backstage. We're going to bring Ashley up next. Ashley, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Atlanta's latest episode?
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
Alma, how are you?
Good. I actually wanted to say that I have a lot of grace for Shamea. I feel like I can kind of relate to her just because I actually went through something similar with one of my closest friends. We've been friends for over 20 years, and we actually went through a big breakthrough because I was also like Shamea. I've always been a people pleaser. I used to always sweep a lot of the things that she would say or do under the rug for years. And that created a lot of microaggressions and resentment on my end. And it wasn't until I actually got married. My husband is the way that he dealt with his friendships, and he's such like a strong force in his friendships, and he doesn't let anybody play with him. He actually made me see that I needed to start speaking up for myself. And it made our friendship so much better. Like we had a sit down conversation. It went really well. She was very receptive. I owned my part in it, and I own that I should have spoke up more in the past.
Yeah.
And it's been an amazing like breakthrough for us. But the difference between my friend and Porsha is Portia's not a good person. So that's why that conversation is it can't go well for Shamea because Portia's not a good person. I mean, let's not forget what she did with Phaedra. She co-signed Phaedra making these lies about her best friend and just sat there and agreed with that. Like, I wouldn't be able to come back from that with a friend. And just like Michael said, Porsha does need help. Something's not clicking in her head. And, like, there's nothing you can really do with that. I think Shamea just needs to walk away from that friendship, honestly.
Okay.
But I do have a lot of grace for her. And then one thing I did want to also bring up
Ashley,
was
we got to go because we have a line and you already went over the time limit.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. All right. Got to be fair to everybody else. Excommunicado is backstage. We're going to bring them up next. Excommunicado, what's going on?
Yeah, hi, Kempire.
Hey.
So about the Shamia and Porsha, I would only just say this. From the perspective I see where Shamia is coming from, her main hurt about the way the whole thing is going is not even about things with Bob brought back to Porsha, was the way Porsha took the things up without coming to her to confirm, is this what you said? Did you add a source on it? Because in that scene, Porsha had just so quickly taken up with Angela and be like, oh, Shamia is always adding some sauce and stuff and making Shamia seem like she's ingenuine. So that's why she keeps saying that I would never let anybody put any dirt on your name in my presence. Nobody talks down on my friendship like that. So when everyone is saying, yeah, Shamia discussed with Angela and Drew about stuff off camera, but it's the fact that whatever she discussed with them, she had already talked about with Porsha, by the way. And they probably didn't totally resolve it because she's been sweeping a lot under the rug over the years. And I think in this conversation at the launch, she eventually was like, okay, let's just pour it out and actually talk about it. But Porsha being who she is, she's just all, woe is me, this is too much, and all of that's dramatics and all of that. So yeah, Porsha is who Porsha is going to be. And in all the situation, you can see that there's only one person who actually gets emotional when they're talking about this whole thing.
That part.
So that's another thing. But beyond that, about Drew and Ralph.
No, I gotta cut you off because you guys are going over the 30-second timer. So
just this is going to be very quick. This is going to be very quick. Drew said that she incorporated the Drew Sidora LLC in 2005, but I just did a quick check on the Georgia Corporations Board, and that was incorporated in 2021 and withdrawn in 2023. So Ralph is trash, but Drew is still lying.
Oh, thank you so much for that. So Drew is caught out there in a lie. Because it didn't make sense to me. Why would Ralph be on her LLC as she formed it in 2005? That's what she said in the episode. So why would Ralph even be on that LLC? So that makes more sense that he was on the LLC in 2021. Jermaine, I do not. I have the timer set up for 30 seconds because we have a long line of people. So I'm trying to get to everyone and everyone's going over the timer. Okay. Jessica says, do y'all be forgetting the F? But I appreciated excommunicado for that last bit of tea. I'm glad that we got that little bit in. So, okay. All right. TOV is backstage. We're going to bring TOV up next. TOV, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
I just love you. I've been following you for a long time, but I just want to hit on the topic about Housewives of Atlanta. Okay. You know, I had to rewatch this whole episodes over and over again, starting from 1 to 11. And I just feel like Shamia and Porsha, they need to salvage their friendship or cut ties because somebody is not being authentic. And I don't know if it's Shamia and I don't know if it's Porsha, but Porsha tends to lie and she tends to not be honest with herself. So therefore, she can't have friends if she's not honest with herself. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, TOV. You did that with 3 seconds to go. Thank you. All right. MK's backstage. We're going to bring MK up next. MK, what did you want to share?
Hey, just quickly before my son finds me, I want to say that I think Shamia needs to get rid of this friendship with Porsha. She's grown. It's time. I had a friend that I had to cut out of my life, and I met her through our moms. And we went to college, she got into the wrong crowd, and I just didn't want that near me. And she never told her mom the truth. But sometimes it gets to a point where you just have to mature and just call it quits on that friendship, as hurtful as it may be.
Yeah.
But Porsche no longer serves her. And then before I go, because my son
found you.
I want to make an announcement to all the listeners that Kempire is coming to Inverness, Scotland. And I look forward to sitting front row in your show. And that's it.
I would love to come to Scotland, but I don't know if I could do a show in Scotland. It'll be just me and you and the baby.
It'll be me, the baby, and the husband, and that is all you need.
Oh, okay. Noted. Thanks, MK. Bye. Do you guys know redheads are black people? Y'all don't see that trend that's happening on TikTok? She said Scotland, so I thought redheads. Anyway, let me say thank you, Scarlett, for the super chat and for being a member. Scarlett says, any show can evolve for the better. Look at Salt Lake City. See, that's what I'm saying. We have had some good recent seasons of Real Housewives, so anything's possible with the right cast. Look at Miami. And what I've heard from episode 1 of this new season of Miami is it's still looking really good. Even the trailer looks good for Miami. So it's not impossible. So... yeah. Thanks, Scarlett, for reminding the folks. All right. Let's bring up Miss Bernice next. Miss Bernice, what did you want to share?
What up, though, everyone? What up, though?
Hey.
The Shamia and Porsha thing. When things are unresolved, that's all on Porsha's part. Because Shamia was there genuinely trying to find out what is the beef that you really have with me. And Porsha went through all these semantics about, okay, we're going to shoot this under the rug. I really ain't going to deal with it. That's why y'all been dealing with it for years, because of you. You never know how to handle your problem. So you shoot it under the rug and just let it fester over years. And then when it come out, you still don't want to deal with it. And you know what? You got to get that sound bite from Kingdom Come with Loretta Devine when she called her son and he messing with her on the phone. She kept hitting her phone saying, Harlot, Harlot, Harlot. You need to do that one.
Why, for Porsha?
Yes.
Oh. Thanks, Miss Bernice.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, let's bring up Amina next. Amina, what did you want to share? Amina? I can't hear you, Amina. Uh-oh. I hear something.
Hello?
There we go. Amina, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I thought you were talking to someone else.
No, what's going on?
No, I watched this episode just now. Like, I literally just finished. I wanted to watch the full episode and then come to your live. And I don't know why I watched it. I regret every minute I spent watching that episode. This cast is just so exhausting. All of them are just trying to be something rather than just being themselves. It makes me really miss Kenya even more. Every episode makes me miss Kenya more so much. And I thought if she was there, who would she be interacting with? Then I thought to myself, maybe it's a good thing that she's not there. Like they need a cast with sophisticated, educated women who are on that level of. And these women are so dense. They're really stupid, and they're all pretending. And Kelly, there's something about Kelly that I find really disingenuous. And I'm just waiting for the penny to drop. I'm just waiting for the penny to drop what it is. And I just can't wait for Salt Lake City to come back. And when Phaedra comes back, it's going to be 100 times worse. When they bring Phaedra, it's going to be times 10 stupidity.
And she's very well educated. All right. Thanks, Amina. All right. Last but definitely not least, we're going to bring Jada up next. Jada, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so excited. This is my first time calling in. I sent my first super chat earlier today as well. I've been watching you literally since I think you had like 30,000 subscribers. So I'm finally coming up and sharing via call-in and super chat. But love your content. Real quick, before I get to Housewives, since it seems like you're not coming to the Midwest, I'm going to just have to buy a ticket to come out there and see you in Atlanta, New York, one of them. But come to the Midwest.
I'm trying. If you listen to my latest episode of the podcast, I talk about why I was trying to book a show in Chicago.
Look, and I'm in Chicago, so let me know who I need to get in contact with.
City Winery.
Here.
Okay. Call them up today and say we want a Kempire show. He's trying to get a Kempire show, but they not making it happen.
I will make that call after this. But on to Housewives. I made that comment about Porsha being a Cancer because my dad's a Cancer. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I've seen the emotional manipulation firsthand. I'm a little bit over this show, though. I'm a little bit over the season, and I think I'm a little bit over the Housewives lately. I'm hoping Miami can revive kind of my interest because it's all just kind of fallen a little flat for me.
Yeah, I agree.
But thank you, Kempire. That's it.
Thanks, Jada, for calling in. First time, even though you've been watching forever.
I know. Maybe I'm going to do this more often.
You should. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. I said last, but not. That wasn't our last call. We've got Candace backstage. Candace, what did you want to share?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have no comments about the show. I just want to say that I've been watching for a few months and I commented for the first time and you picked my comment, just made my day. So just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Candace. I appreciate the love. Thank you so much. Keep watching.
I will.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. I love it when we have some new people call in instead of just our regulars. We appreciate our regulars, though. Wait a second. How do you pronounce this? Connected? Oh, there we go. I figured it out. Connected. Thank you so much for the super chat. Where are you calling from? I mean, where are you sending this from? SAR. Where is this from? Thank you so much for the super chat. You just said because we love you. Thank you so much, Connected. I appreciate that. I was trying to figure out that currency. You guys let me know in the live chat because I know y'all can figure it out. All right. Anyways, guys, these are my final thoughts on this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta's episode 11 from season 16. I feel as if it was just an okay episode. I'm glad that we didn't drag out the Porsha and the Shamea situation in this episode. But clearly, what we've seen of Shamea and Porsha's relationship in the blogs and in their recent interviews, things between Shamea and Porsha are not all well. So it will be interesting to see what exactly brings us back to them not being in a good place. And I also still do not understand. Oh, Saudi Arabia. Thank you so much, Connected. Saudi Arabia. Invite me over there. I can't do a live show there. Be arrested. But back to the Porsha of it, or Porsha and Shamea of it all. I don't know what led us back to where we are. I still don't understand why Porsha had the reaction that she had over the weekend for what we saw Shamea say in this episode. Whatever Shamea said in this episode was not that bad for Porsha or her mama to go on social media and don't talk about my mama. Okay. Thank you so much, Angel. Angel says, I'm originally from Chicago and in Dallas now. I'll call City Winery too. I just saw a bring your dog event at the Chicago Winery. Why not a Kemp show? Not bring your dog event. Thank you, Angel. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, if you're in Chicago, you want me at the City Winery in Chicago, call them up. Just saying. But shout out to the City Winery in Philadelphia and Atlanta. I will see you guys soon. Ticket information on the Kempire After Dark. The Villain Era is coming to a city near you. New York City, Atlanta, Philly, you're up first. Go get your tickets. Let's sell those out. Selling those out helps other cities see that you want us in your city. So if we're selling out these shows here on the East Coast, the West Coast and the Midwest and all of that, we'll see that there is a demand. So that is also important. Mr. Mellon and Magic, thank you so much for the super chat. Mr. Mellon says, Kempire, those lyrics were from Miss Netta's rap song called Charles, Your Lunch is Ready. They hating on you. So why did you add all that other stuff, start and mess, if you were trying to be funny? I don't understand it, but it's okay. Thank you for clearing up. Trying to start trouble. Anyway. All right. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. Thank you so much for liking the video. If you haven't liked the video already, be sure to like it now. And shout out to our replay crew. Replay crew, be sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions on this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed, because you're missing out on updates, posts when we go live. And don't forget our Diddy updates. I'm giving you a day-by-day summary of the Diddy trial. If you are looking for just a summary of what's going on, you don't want to hear a play-by-play, because I can't do it. I literally would have to cancel our Real Housewives of Atlanta recaps so that I could follow you, walk you through the Diddy of it all day. Just not worth it, at least not for me, especially with the dark topics that they're covering. So stay tuned for our Diddy summary later on today. And if you don't want to miss out on that, make sure you subscribe. And don't forget, you can hear Diddy updates, our Real Housewives of Atlanta recaps, and more, including our weekend updates, which is exclusively on the Kempire podcast, So make sure you subscribe today. And while you're there, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating. That goes for you to those who are watching on TikTok and those of you watching on Twitch, Twitter, and on Facebook. All right. Become a subscriber today. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I will see you when we do our next recap. When is our next recap? That's all we have for this week, right? In regards to a show recap, right? Yeah, probably. Sorry. Diddy it all this week. All right. Bye, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Don't forget to give the Kempire 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And as always, for more information on everything Kempire Radio Network, head on over to KempireRadio.com.